Good morning. It is Jordan with the BetLocker.com here to bring you a Monday Night Football props edition for week 8, where the Commanders are taking on the Chiefs. Gonna go ahead and find some spots that I think we can exploit, get some prop wins, and win some money together. If you can, before we dive in, please like and subscribe. It does help the channel, obviously, and it does buy yourself some good karma. Let me tell you why it buys yourself some good karma. Finally had some prop wins yesterday. I don't have them on the screen here because my wife put them in on because she got bonuses for pick six, and she put them all in by herself. I promise. Um, anyways, had some sick wins on there. I'm going to post them on the site at thebetlocker.com so in that way people can see it there. But I hit, let's see, two 6-teamers, and four 5-teamers, and a 2-teamer. It was all the same picks, but you have to put them in separately for those bonus picks. But it was awesome. And you get bonus money for pick six. I've seen it before, but like you get crazy bonus money if people don't hit it. So it over doubled the minimum amount, which was awesome. But Alvin Kamara over 23.5 receiving yards, got that by half a yard. Cade Otton more than 39.5 receiving yards, got that by half a yard. Jalen Noel, 37.5 receiving yards, got that at one catch. CeeDee Lamb, less than 75.5 receiving yards. He got to 74, and then they benched him. So that worked out great. George Pickens over 57.5 yards. Good. And Woody Marks over 18.5 receiving yards. Good. Now, the CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens, if you watched my other video, plus I'm going to do a recap in my Monday recap, was I did a Pat Surtain, like, I love to exploit Pat Surtain and the number one wide receiver. So I always like to do less than for wide receiver one when they're going against Pat Surtain in the Broncos. Well, it was looking scary in the beginning. If anyone watched it, he was all of a sudden shadowing George Pickens, which I was afraid of. And then he gets injured. So I was like, oh, maybe this is actually good for me. If they can just contain Lamb, Pickens will be opened up a little bit more, and we don't have to worry about who Surtain's going to be shadowing or who he's going to be guarding at any time. So both of it worked out perfectly, and it hit. And CeeDee Lamb got benched the last drive of the game because they were down so much. So they thought, don't want to risk injury, which I love. I love that decisions. And I obviously loved it because I was exactly where my wife was exactly where she needed to be. So, anyways, so that was great. But let's hit some tonight. So I was looking at some spots, and I really think that you have to kind of play into some game scripts. And obviously, Mahomes is going to be popular, so I think his numbers are a little bit beefed up today. If you look at his passing yards, 274, he could get that pretty easily. But if they are playing from ahead, is he going to? Now, having said that, they do a lot of check down passes. They do a lot of yards after catch, and they do get up. And Washington's defense isn't great. They're not horrible, but they're not great. But it has been pretty shown that they do not mind benching Mahomes if they're up a lot and or running it more late into the game if they're up a lot. So like there's just so many different variables that it's like, man, his feel beefed a little bit. His rushing yards, 22 and a half. Now he's hit that the last 3 games, right? So barely got that last game. He's getting less and less because I think they're finally realizing like, okay, if it's not a must win or if it's a game that we're up quite a lot, then do not take off and run and save your body. So I think he's starting to run less and less. That number is still low. He could get that in one run. That's the risk that you play, if you take less there. But the risk you take with doing more on rushing yards for him also is they could be rushing him a lot less too. And if they're playing from ahead, he's definitely not going to be taking off and running. So having said that, I like Isaiah Pacheco tonight over 49.5 rushing yards. The reason being his snap count has ticked up a lot. He's playing well over 60% of snaps now. They're kind of phasing out Kareem Hunt pretty good. And when you do see the other running back, Brashard Smith, come in, it's for passing games, but it's also when they are ahead. So they're really starting. I mean, like last game, he had 15 attempts. Isaiah Pacheco had 15 attempts, 57 yards, but he also had some targets in the passing game. And like I said, he played well over 60% of snaps last game. And the game before that, the Lions, they were up. He played only 12 attempts, still got to 51 yards, but he also was in 60% of that. Kareem Hunt didn't do hardly anything. So you could attack this multiple ways. You could either do over 49.5 rushing yards, or you could do attempts, which I don't mind this as well. I kind of like this a lot. Over 11.5 rushing attempts too. Game script wise, probably going to be running it a little bit more late in the game and to kill that clock. And they're definitely going to be using him to do it. They could be using Kareem Hunt on the goal line. They're going to be using Brashard Smith in the passing game more, or if they're up a lot. So since they have 3 backs that they do use still technically, this number is probably right on the number. He's probably going to get to 12, and then you're going to be shitting your pants the whole time, hoping that he gets it if you take more, but you don't feel comfortable taking less there. So I would do this just because he could break off one run like always, and he could get that number pretty easily. So I like that more. And then I also like, so Marcus Mariota has started 2 games, and this is his 3rd game starting. So, and he's getting some weapons back. He's getting Terry McLaurin back, and then Deebo Samuel is in. And so Zach Ertz obviously is going to be coming off National Tight End Day. That's still in people's minds that, tight ends are still going to be targeted maybe. I'm not going to buy into it. He didn't target. So when he started with those last 2 games, he only targeted Zach Ertz 3 times and he got 3 catches, then 4 times and 2 catches. And then when they're playing from behind, he doesn't get targeted a crazy lot. Now, that doesn't make sense because usually when they're playing from behind, the quarterback, whoever it is, Jaden Daniels, in this case, it's Marcus Mariota, technically is supposed to be passing more, obviously. So there should be seeing more targets, more catches going around, more yards. But with Marcus Mariota being mobile, not as mobile as Jaden Daniels, but he is still mobile and he does still take off run. And if they are playing from behind, but also pass rushing pretty well, which they do, the Chiefs do, then he could be taking off for more runs, not seeing Zach Ertz. And if he's getting rushed a lot, then they usually use that tight end for an extra pass blocker. So Zach Ertz can see the field a lot less. And they bring in, unless he's a good pass blocker, I haven't really paid attention to that to tell you the truth. But either way, the tight end usually, if he's getting pass rushed a lot, and if Marcus Mariota is taken off to run or whatnot, then they're using that tight end spot to block a lot more to help protection. So having said that, I like less than receptions for Zach Ertz. Now, it's a very low number. It could be scary, 3.5 receptions, but he's only hit that once in the last. He's hit that twice in the last 6 games, over 3.5. So, but with Marcus Mariota, he has not hit that number yet. And if they're playing from behind, and I think they're going to get pass rush quite a bit, and if Marcus Mariota is taking off running more, that limits his throwing. And they're going to want extra pass blockers to buy him more time, which usually comes from the tight end spot. So I like less than receptions there. And then the last one that I do like is Krosky Merritt under or less than also rushing yards. So it's only 48.5. I mean, it goes against the theory of like Isaiah Pacheco can get that in one run. I absolutely do think that. But the reason why I like Krosky Merritt a lot is the same thing, game script. If you're playing from behind, they're not going to be rushing it as much. And his snap count has been wildly like inconsistent. So like if you go pull up his last game, which they were playing from behind, he had 13 attempts, but only 33 yards and didn't have any passing. He had a couple targets, but he had -1 there. Bears game, also playing from behind. In the beginning, they ran him a lot. He had 17 attempts, but Jaden Daniels had 10, so he kind of vultures that a little bit. And what about the game before that? Only 14 attempts the game before that. So I think that when they are playing from behind, they like to play um who is it? McNichols, Jeremy McNichols. They like to play Jeremy McNichols a lot, especially in the passing game as well. And then they also sometimes roll out Rodriguez. So I think because they're kind of splitting backs and they're probably gonna be needing to pass a lot more. And I think that it's not going to come like it's going to come at the expense of Krosky Merritt, unfortunately. I like him a lot. I think he has huge potential, but I don't think this is the game for him at all. So I would take the less than rushing yards there. And look, while we waited, we just bought ourselves an extra yard for Isaiah Pacheco. So that's great. So there you have it. That's what I like the most tonight, guys. I do have my premiums on our site, which is obviously thebetlocker.com. And when you do become a member, you get all of our locker picks, which we went 5-0 yesterday in NFL and 5-2 in college. We had an awesome weekend. Go ahead and check out my recap video for that. But you get all your locker picks, you get a DFS cheat sheets, prop bets, obviously, daily picks, and our free picks, obviously. And you get access to our Discord channel where all of our members have been winning together. NBA has been crushing in our Discord, so that has been so fun to have. So go ahead and lock these in tonight, guys. Let's cash those tickets. Please like and subscribe and go to thebetlocker.com, become a member today, and buy yourself some good karma on your way out. Hit that like button. All right, we'll see you guys. Good.